अगर आप मीडिया को गौर से देखें तो आपको ऐसे लगेगा कि माशरे में LGBTQ ने टोटल टेक ओवर कर लिया है, मगर कुछ लोग ऐसे भी हैं जो सेम सेक्स अट्रैक्टेड होते हुए भी LGBTQ के नैरेटिव को काउंटर कर रहे हैं। इसमें सबसे ज़्यादा क्रिश्चियंस हैं। ये लोग अपने आप को बॉर्न अगेन क्रिश्चियंस भी कहते हैं। ये लोग सेम सेक्स अट्रैक्शन से निकलने की पर्सनल कहानियां यूट्यूब पर बताते हैं। इनकी वीडियोस के नीचे कुछ इस तरह के कमेंट्स होते हैं। मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी में भी सीक्रेटली बहुत सारे मर्द ऐसे से लड़ रहे हैं, मगर जहाँ क्रिश्चियंस और जूइश ग्रुप्स तो बने हुए हैं, कोई भी मुसलमान सेम सेक्स अट्रैक्टेड मर्दों के लिए काम नहीं कर रहा। इसकी वजह से मुसलमान मर्द अकेला सफर कर रहा है। मगर एक शख्स है जो इसके ऊपर काम कर रहा है। इसका नाम है अली असद जाफरी। एक वक्त था जब अली से अपनी सेम सेक्स अट्रैक्शन मैनेज नहीं हो रही थी। आज अली जाफरी मैरिड हैं, बच्चों वाले हैं। स्ट्रॉन्ग सपोर्ट .co.uk पर उन लोगों की मदद कर रहे हैं जिनको अपनी सेम सेक्स अट्रैक्शन नहीं चाहिए। वो यहाँ कैसे पहुंचे, ये एपिसोड इसके बारे में है। हाउ डिड अली असद जाफरी फाइंड आउट अबाउट हिज सेम सेक्स अट्रैक्शन। अली जाफरी पाकिस्तान से यूके शिफ्ट होते हैं 9-10 साल की उम्र में। वहाँ वो स्कूल जाना शुरू करते हैं तो उनको अपने PE टीचर से एक अनएक्सप्लेन्ड अट्रैक्शन महसूस होती है।
First, when I experienced like, oh, I'm attracted to my PE teacher, like what's happening, and it was weird because I didn't understand at the time what was happening, and I remember going into Google back then, writing "men like men" because I didn't have a word for it. I didn't know what it meant, and then internet being internet came up with images, came up with pornography, and that was okay, so this is what men like, right?
यहाँ से उनकी पॉर्न एडिक्शन शुरू होती है और उनकी अटैचमेंट सेक्सुअलाइज हो जाती है। वो 11 साल इस इमोशनल और साइकोलॉजिकल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट में रहते हैं जिसकी कुछ वजूहात होती हैं।
I had a lot of shame, right? I come from a very conservative Muslim family, very religious, both sides of my family very religious. And the shame for me was not for myself, but if this went out, what would the reputation of the family be? You know, like, would people marry just because of me? People might not marry my sisters. I had this incredible weight where I thought, if this gets out, I don't really care about myself, but I care about my family, and what would happen. And of course, I had shame towards myself because I was disgusted by the attraction, And when I read the Quran at the time, and God had very strict, very, very strict words to say about it, I was like, oh my God, why do I have this? So I hated myself, and I hated the attraction, and I wanted for it to go away. I didn't want anyone to know. And this lasted 11 years.
Oh my God.
So 11 years, I did not tell a soul because I felt that there was something inherently wrong with me, something that was broken. Maybe I had done something wrong, or maybe I was wrong. I'd questioned my lineage. I'm a descendant from the Prophet's lineage, and I was like, maybe not. I kind of really thought, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe this isn't right, or something's happened, and I had a lot of self-hate at that time. Yeah.
पॉर्न वक्ती तौर पर अली के अनरिजॉल्व मसलों को नाम कर देता है, मगर लॉन्ग टर्म में अली की मेंटल हेल्थ खराब होना शुरू हो जाती है। वो एक A ग्रेड स्टूडेंट होते हैं, मगर यूनिवर्सिटी पहुंचने तक उनकी मेंटल हेल्थ खराब हो जाती है और उनका GPA भी गिरना शुरू हो जाता है। और इवेंचुअली एक दिन एक ड्राइविंग टेस्ट के दौरान वो रियलाइज करते हैं कि उनकी मेंटल हेल्थ एक क्राइसिस पॉइंट पर पहुंच चुकी है।
And I remember driving, and my instructor was like, he said to me, Ali, I don't know what's happening, but whatever I'm saying to you isn't going to your head. And I recognized at that point that something was mentally unstable in me, that I had reached a crisis in my life at that point. I searched on the university, and they had a counselor. So I booked a session with that counselor. And I remember going in that first session with that counselor, sitting down and just breathing and thinking, oh my God, I'm here, I'm in counseling. It took me 3 minutes. And 3 minutes is long. It took me a long, long time to just open my mouth and say, I like men, because I was disgusted. I had said it for 11 years. I was disgusted by it. And as soon as I said, I like men, and then she was like, oh, okay, this is what it is. And then when she contained me in that moment, I felt like, oh my God, like years of shame and years of just keeping it to myself. And oh my God, God's not just, sent a lightning bolt and killed me because I'm sinful, right? So all of this kind of years of weight just came down, and I just started crying because it was tears of joy, in a sense, to say I'm not carrying this by myself. There is somebody else who now knows, and that was the opening point for me to trust somebody else. It just felt like, oh my God, I've told someone. It's no longer in my head anymore. It's out. It was scary. It was scary at the same time because the cat's out of the bag. I can't put it back in. But it was relieving at the same time because I felt rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at that moment, that you don't have to suffer alone. Yeah.
Finding answers from the Holy Quran about same-sex attraction. Psychologists, mainstream media और इंटरनेट अली को सिर्फ एक चीज कह रहे होते हैं, You are born this way. मगर अली को समझ आना शुरू हो जाती है कि ये एक इम्तिहान है. अब बहुत सारे सवाल होते हैं, क्या वो अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला का रास्ता चूज करेगा या फिर वो अपनी ख्वाहिशात को अपना खुदा बनाएगा? और सबसे जरूरी सवाल, क्या अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला उसको एक ऐसा रास्ता दिखाएंगे जहां उसको अपनी ख्वाहिशात से बदलने का जरिया मिलेगा? क्योंकि मुसलमान उम्मा में किसी ने मुसलमान सेम सेक्स अट्रैक्टेड लोगों के लिए रिसर्च नहीं की हुई थी. अली के लिए एक बहुत बड़ी कंफ्यूजन ये भी थी कि क्या अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला आखिर उस शख्स को कह क्या रहे हैं जिसको सेम सेक्स अट्रैक्शन है. अली ये मानने को तैयार नहीं थे कि अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला उसको एक ऐसी प्रॉब्लम देंगे जिसका हल नहीं होगा, या फिर यहाँ पर जिसके ऊपर अली का कंट्रोल नहीं होगा, और फिर अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला उसको इसकी सज़ा भी देंगे. फिर यहाँ अली को पहला इशारा एक किताब की सूरत में मिलता है.
I came across this book by Joseph Nicolosi, which is called Reparative Therapy for the Male Homosexuality. I read it and I was like, oh my God, this is me. This guy is describing me. Like, I like covering up. I have an overbearing mother and a distant father, finding shame in having the attraction and then using sexual enablement as a way to get out of it. That circle where I'm like, okay, I'm shamed. Oh, let's watch pornography so I feel better. And then I'm stuck in that cycle, that shame, or I'm thinking that the pornography is going to make me feel better because that's how I've learned to connect with vulnerability. So when I read that, and I was like, oh, there's a science to it.
अली को किताब ने एक बिल्कुल फर्क नैरेटिव दिया और उसे ये समझ आना शुरू हो गई थी कि उसकी ख्वाहिशात उसके बचपन में हुए हुए ट्रॉमा से आई है, और गुनाह ख्वाहिशात का नहीं है, सिर्फ उन पर अमल करने का है. इस्लाम फीलिंग्स और आइडेंटिटी में फ़र्क रखता है.
And the Quran specifically only talks about act, right? It says, litatuna rijal, you are going, it's explicit. It never ever mentions the feeling, right? Even when it says, this is something ma sabakum ahadun min al-alamin, this is something that none had done. It was the act. There might have been people who felt attracted that way, but the Quran says that act of liwat, anal penetration, basically that's what it's saying, that was only done at that time, right? So what happened at Lut's time was an attraction. They used the behavior to enact that attraction. That attraction could have been there before, right? And at the time I didn't know Arabic, so I used to read it and used to just think, God hates gay people, right? So it took me a while till I read the verses, and my whole approach now is the Quran. The Quran has such beauty, such hidden messages, and inshallah, I hope to write about this one day. There's so much I could discuss about the Quran, how the Quran had really practical steps. But it was exactly that. The door to healing was when I realized that God had made it a different identity. Okay, so I can still be Muslim and have same-sex attraction, but there was a room for me in Islam. But then the next question was, how do I get married? I have the attraction. How do I manage it? Fine, I know that, this is a test. How do I manage it? And there was where it was silence.
Yes,
right.
So explain that.
Ali Jaffery gets another sign from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. यहाँ अली का एक और इम्तिहान शुरू हो जाता है. उसको ये तो समझ आ गई है कि ये एक इम्तिहान है जो ट्रॉमा बेस्ड है और ट्रॉमा बचपन में है, मगर जब इस मसले को मैनेज करना या फिर इससे निकलने की बात आती है तो अली को कुरान मजीद चुप मिला. मगर अली को अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला पर यकीन था और उसको ये भी मालूम था कि यहाँ अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला चाहते हैं कि वो खुद हाथ पाँव मारे.
I attended this workshop. This was done by Called People Can Change at the time. They're a faith-affirming organization. It was called Journey into Manhood. And subhanAllah, I was in Bristol at the time, and this is an American company. And they said their next workshop is in Southwest England. And I'm thinking, hang on, this is an American company. How are they here? And this was recommended by Joseph Nicolosi, the guy, the book who I had read. So it was an ishara, right? So it was a clear ishara. You need
Absolutely.
to go there. So I said, okay, I'm going to register to this. And I did that workshop. And for the first time in my life, I saw people who had same-sex attraction. Now they were married, they had children, and they had gone through it, right? And this was mostly Christians who were doing the work, right? And I was like, subhanallah, Allah has blessed the Christian community in the work that they're doing. What was the healing in that? The healing part was, I can have the attraction, but I can still have the brotherhood, and I can learn to be with a woman. It's not like the attraction is going to come like this. We're very desire-centric world. So we say, okay, I'm same-sex attracted, but I need to grow opposite-sex attraction, because we're looking at it from a frame of reference of desire. But when we look at it from a frame of reference of God instead of a frame of reference of desire, we say, well, God's going to hold my hand in this. If I have same-sex attraction, He's going to hold my hand to show me it and bring me. We say Ahdina Sirat al-Mustaqim every time in prayer. What does that mean? That means He is going to hold my hand. He's going to take me out of it. So I had to have tawakkul, and I had tawakkul in Allah from a very, very young age, because I was like, you know what? This is haq. I know this is haq. If somebody shows me a haq better than Islam, I will follow it. I had a surety. I come from a very religious family, right? So I was assured. But God tested me with my sexuality. He was going to say, is He going to come to me? I'm going to give him something. Is He going to come to me? So I said, you know what? These Christians, they're onto something.
अली जर्नी इनटू मैनहुड के वर्कशॉप्स के साथ जोसेफ निकोलोसी की सजेस्टेड थेरेपी के थ्रू सेम सेक्स अट्रैक्शन को पहली दफ़ा मैनेज करना सीखते हैं। इनको कुरान मजीद में बहुत सारे हिडन रास्ते मिलते हैं जो इनको एसएसए की मैनेजमेंट में हेल्प करते हैं। इनको गुस्सा भी होता है मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी के ऊपर, क्योंकि क्रिश्चियंस एलजीबीटीक्यू के नैरेटिव को काउंटर करने में और सेम सेक्स अट्रैक्टेड लोगों को ठीक राह दिखाने में काफ़ी आगे होते हैं, मगर मुसलमान इस एरिया में गायब होते हैं। दैट्स व्हेन ही स्टार्ट्स strongsupport.co.uk। आज वो खुद भी एक लाइसेंस्ड थेरेपिस्ट है। अली जाफरीज फाइंडिंग्स अबाउट व्हाई ही गॉट एसएसए। अली को थेरेपी में ये भी समझ आ गई कि क्योंकि वो औरतों के बीच में पले बढ़े, इसीलिए उनके पास मेल मेंटरशिप नहीं थी, और बचपन से ही मेल मेंटरशिप की नामौजूदगी होने की वजह से उनकी जो क्रेविंग थी एक मर्द के साथ अटैच होने की, वो प्यूबर्टी हिट होते ही सेक्सुअलाइज हो गई। इसीलिए उनको मर्द और मर्दाना हरकतें अनफेमिलियर लगती और औरत ज़ात फेमिलियर लगती, यानी कि औरत ज़ात और औरत की हरकतों से अपनाइयत आती और मैस्कुलिनिटी से अपनाइयत ना आती। यानी कि जो चीज़ सेक्सुअलाइज होनी चाहिए थी उनके लिए वो डीसेक्सुअलाइज होगी, और जो चीज़ डीसेक्सुअलाइज होनी चाहिए थी उनके लिए वो सेक्सुअलाइज होगी। उन्होंने अपनी सेक्सुअल नीड्स को तरजीह देने के बजाय पहले अपनी मर्दाना अटैचमेंट डीसेक्सुअलाइज की और फीमेल अटैचमेंट को बेहतर तरीके से समझा। जब वो जहनी तौर पर एक बेहतर जगह पर पहुंच गए, दैट्स व्हेन ही वर्कड ऑन गेटिंग मैरिड। This is how it happened.
Especially men with same-sex attraction, they need healthy touch. They need thought. So one of the big doors for me in my healing was healthy male touch, because when I grew up, I don't have recollections. And even though my father did hug me many times, but I don't have recollections of it, right? So I needed someone to say, "Oh, hey, your body's okay. Just touch you." The Prophet used to kiss Hassan and Hussein, right? And Arabs would be like, "Oh, this is disgusting. What are you doing?" And he's teaching you, no, that physical touch that you're going to give your child is going to prevent sexualization later on, where they're trying to get that touch from somewhere else. So big healing part was me getting hugs, or how do we get healthy fatherly touch, brotherly touch, right? In this work. Where am I now? Marriage was, I think the biggest thing that people fear in marriage is what's happened on the first night, right? I'm not going to get it up. The arousal's not going to happen, right? What I had already spoken to my wife before the marriage, I had told her, and I'd given her, and we have this, there's steps in revealing it, which I help people into how to reveal to your spouse before marriage. Because if someone had told me after marriage they had something like SSA, I would have felt that it was too much, right? Why didn't you tell me before? So I had told her before. I had told her that I would probably go public at this point as well. So I want to, give a shout out to her, to my family. If it wasn't for their support, I wouldn't be able to do this, right? It is there through their trust and through their support that I'm able, because it's not just me, right? It's my family. It's everybody gets, when you when you publicize yourself, then you're going to get eyes, right?
Yes.
I told her before getting married that, look, I'm in a better place now. The attraction I need to work on. So in the first year, I'll need to go slow. I'll need to see, I would say most conservative Muslims have never had a sexual experience before marriage, right? So for all of us, it's like, we don't know what's going on, right? So I had, took it step by step, took it slow, and there was a journey where I understood what she liked, what I liked, and it took a year. It took me a year for me to be comfortable in that. And I think that, again, this type of knowledge, this type of talk, my elder brother, actually, he gave that to me. So he was like, make sure you do this and that. First year was difficult. It was difficult. There was arguments. She's come from Pakistan, right? I never initially thought I'd marry someone from Pakistan just because I didn't want them to leave their family and come here, even though I'm Pakistani. But God had chosen. Like when the first time I told her about the same-sex attraction, her response was, I wanted someone special and you're special. And I was like, hang on, you've not listened to what I've said. And I was like, subhanAllah, I was like, what?
So beautiful.
And I said to her later on, like, why did you say that? And she said, you know what? God had just put peace. He put sakina in my heart at that time, where I was thinking, because the time that I had chosen was, she was sharing something deep about her. So she was sharing her trauma. She was sharing. So I was like, you know what? This is the right time. She's sharing about herself. Let me share about myself. It wasn't in our first meeting. It was our third face-to-face meeting, because she was in Pakistan and I was in UK, and we used to video call. So I'd set an intentional time, an intentional space. I didn't say I was gay. I said I developed these feelings when I was younger, and this led to me feeling different. Then I was attracted. It's very important when you share the SSA, you don't say I'm gay. That's not how you do it. You build that up to the story, to why the attraction's there. I gave her the opportunity to tell others, because I didn't want her to hold it. Oh my God, my potential spouse just said me I didn't want her to hold it. She didn't decide to tell people, but I gave her the opportunity to do that. So she knew 100% what was coming into me. And we both are very God-centric. The first thing I look for is taqwa. Not just is she praying, of course, praying, fasting, but is she able to contain me? If I share something with her, how is her response? Is she judgmental? Does she have empathy? Does she have rahma? And she did, right? So then I was like, this is a clear, I know she fasted, I know she comes from a good family, but when she had that rahma and she said, no, like this is okay, I just said, you know what you're doing, do istikhara, right? Because I was like, you don't know what you're saying. And she did the istikhara, and the istikhara came out, the verse said, and we have given you the best of things. It was something, a very, very good verse. So she said, I have no doubts, I have no shak, let's go ahead with it. From that day on, because she trusted in me, when we had our first child, when we were doing we in the first attempt, right? And when we wanted our second child, first attempt. Because God had made it so easy. There are other things in life which have been difficult for us and things, but whenever the things which have to do with this work, SSA or something, God has made it so easy.